guys, what's going on? Blossom is back and welcome back to another episode of Top Drives. Now today I want to do something I've never really done before, and this is an honest prize car review. Okay, so obviously the next prize car is the 911 GT1 road car, and obviously I'm going to do my usual on telling you what I think the final requirements are going to be. It's pretty obvious and also kind of unexpected. So the final requirements is most likely going to be 2009, because this is a 2009 car, 2009 car, 2009 car, and you get the gist. Also, I'm going to show you the prelim prizes. I'm going to put it right here, and as you can see, once again, the G37 and the Solstice and the Pilot, they're all cars from 2009. Now, why I thought that this was, a bit unlikely was because 2009 is a year of the ox year, and usually in normal Hutch fashion, they don't like to reuse cars. But in this case, it looks like they are. They are reusing cars because a lot of people will already have great 2009 cars from the Yoto packs if you've unpacked a Banana, if you've unpacked an Evo 10, right? And another factor which I thought no way it was 2009 until the requirements and the event actually came out, was because we've been having so many 2000 events recently. I mean, this year alone, we've had a 2000 to 2004, and then we had a 2001 finals, and now we're having a 2009 finals. It's like the creativity from Hutch has gone down, although they've brought in the new filtering system. At this point, I think that they're still playing around with the new filtering system, and they're just like pushing out all these like random wrecks until they really master the new filtering system, and then that's when we're gonna start seeing them in Tri-Series events. I don't know, it's kind of weird. I didn't expect 2000 events for a Tri-Series in 2021, but that looks like what we're getting. Once again, we'll get confirmation once we finally get the pack, but I think it is pretty obvious it is going to be a 2009 final, considering that every single car in the qualifiers and the prelims are 2009. But like I said at the start of the video, today I want to do an honest prize car review of the 911 GT1 road car. Now, everybody knows this already, but or most people know this. Usually when the new prize car comes out, Hutch likes to do the promotion, right? They like to promote the prize car, and they'll probably talk about, the relevance of the prize car, why it's a prize car, and how it holds up with other cars in the game. Well, that's the thing though. Usually in those kind of reviews, it's biased. Obviously, they're trying to promote the prize car because they want you, the player, to spend money to open packs and then try and win it. But I'm going to give you my honest opinion because I own it already. I won this back in 2018, January 7th. 3.2 years ago. That's how long it has been. This is the first ever legendary prize car I've ever won. It's the first ever Tri-Series I've ever won. So this car has a special place in my heart. As you can see here, it's really, really old, 1,195 days, and I've raced it for 1,735 times. But I'm gonna give you my honest review, okay? I've had this car for 3.2 years. How many times have I actually used it? Is it actually worth it? Obviously, the last Tri-Series, I did a lot of bashing into the Pagani, and some people didn't like that because some of the owners, right, were like, oh, I've actually owned the Pagani and it's actually kind of useful. The thing is, you're just biased. The Pagani, I stick by my word, is trash. And it's the same thing here. The GT1, yeah, I own it, yes, I like the car, but no, it's not good. So let me go through the stats with you, okay? So I've already written this down, but first things first is the amount of days and the amount of races. So like I said, I've owned this for 3.2 years, I've owned this for 1,195 days, and I've already raced it 1,735 times. So if we break that down, I basically raced this car 0.68 times a day, 4.8 times a week. That is very low. Although the win ratio isn't too bad at 75, I have to say, the fact that I only race this car 0.68 times a day or 4.8 times a week is abysmal. Because let me compare this to another Porsche, which I pulled at a similar time. And we have to go back to another OG, which is my Porsche GT2 RS. So remember those numbers. It was 0.68 per day, 4.8 per week for the GT1 road car. Now for the 911 GT2 RS, I've owned it for a similar amount of time, about 20-day difference, so 1,174 days, and I've raced it 5,807 times. So to put that in comparison, for my Porsche GT2 RS, I have raced this at least 4.94 times a day, 24.7 times a week. I've raced this Porsche more times a day on average than the 911 GT1 road car. And the 911 GT1 road car is older as well. So just based off this statistic alone, it just shows you that no, I do not use the 911 a lot, the 911 GT1 road car. I use the 911 GT2 RS so much more. There is another Legendary that I pulled within the same time frame as the as both Porsches, and that would be the Mercedes AMG GTS. But I don't want to put this into comparison because I'm going to be completely honest with you. The AMG GTS is actually worse than the 911 GT1 road car. If we look at the stats, actually I didn't look at the stats before the video, so I'm not too sure. But there you go, 1,168 days, less than 1,000 races. Yeah, this car is really bad, so I'm taking it out of the equation. We're gonna compare the Porsches and the Porsches. So basically, you know, my prize Porsche and the Porsche that has won me 2 prize cars. 911 GT2 RS is just much better. Okay, so yeah, that's the first part. That's the first red flag. And that's kind of the easiest way for me to tell you that this car isn't that useful, because it just shows that in 3.2 years I really haven't raced it that much, of under 2,000 races. But now let me talk about the tags and the niches of the 911 GT1 road car. Where are you most likely going to use it? So first things first, we gotta address the elephant in the room. It has this motorsport tag, okay? And in terms of motorsport dry, I ranked it as one of the worst. It ranks 28th out of 29 motorsport legendaries. And like I said, this is motorsport dry, so obviously it's going to be worse than a lot of the slicks. That was bound to happen. So how about motorsport wet? Where does it rank there? Well, basically what I did was I filtered it by motorsport and performance tires, because there are no standard tire motorsport cars, legendaries, right? And it ranks 4th out of the 6. Because here's the thing, there are some motorsport cars out there that has a 4-wheel drive drivetrain, so that will be better. And the GT1 road car has no traction control, right? It has no traction control. As you can see here, no traction control, but it does have ABS. So it ranks 28th out of 29th in motorsport dry, and it ranks 4th out of 6 in motorsport wet. If you don't believe me, basically what you want to do is go into filter, and you want to go into legendary, you want to go into collections and tags, and you want to look for motorsport, and then basically just go to all cars, and then you can count. But I've basically done the counting for you. So what I did was I went to tires, and let's just do like performance, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then as you can see, it ranks 4th when it comes to wet stuff, because it's going to lose the GTR, it's going to lose to the SGC, it's going to lose to the ECV, and boom, there you go, it's 4th, right? And then once again, it's the same thing for dry. That's when I put in all the slicks, and it ranks 28th out of 29. So not looking good so far, right? And then here's the next part. It's the lowest RQ 90s rear-wheel drive legendary as well. So take that as you will. If I filtered this by 90s legendary and rear-wheel drive, it has the lowest RQ, and it ranks at the worst. Once again, if it comes to fast tracks, when it's a rear-wheel drive 90s event, if we're talking about fast tracks like 1 mile, test bowl, half mile, it ranks 12th out of 12. Dead last, because when you think about it, it's going to lose to the XJR, which has like 100 MRA. This is like 88 MRA, and it's going to lose to the R390, once again a car of 100 MRA and much higher top speed than the 911 road car. So it ranks 12 out of 12. But how about twisty? Okay, so you know, like twisty circuit, slalom, twisty road. Well, it ranks 8th out of the 12 possible legendaries. Not looking very good. So now we're talking about what, 28th out of 29, 4th out of 6, 12 out of 12, and 8 out of 12. Can this thing even like bounce back? Well, the next thing, the last tag and niche that we need to talk about, because we've already covered motorsport, we've already covered 90s rear wheel drive. I mean, that's as much slack that I can give it. It has no chance with just 90s as a whole, because if it was 90s wet, then the 4-wheel drives would just send the 911 GT1 to Gapplebees, basically. So the next niche is 1990s German. Where does it stand there? Well, in my notes, I say that it stands out. For dry, it's 2 out of 5, or it ranks 2nd in terms of 5 cars, and in terms of wet, it ranks 4th out of 5 cars. If you don't believe me, let's just do that one real quick. So we go legendary, we go into 1990, so where is the correct year? Here it is, and we go into Deutschland, and we go into all cars. So there you go, it ranks second in the dry, second best if it comes to dry events, because it's most likely going to be the W12, 911, and the CCR2 with that amazing handling and lower 0 to 60, but it's still going to be, always going to be a worse version of the GT1 race car. And if it came to the rain, yeah, it will be the GT1 race car, but then it will lose to all these 3 legendaries because of that 4-wheel drivetrain. You see what I mean? So it's not the best in anything. So in other words, the only time that you want to really, where this Porsche 911 GT1 road car will really stand out in your garage if you win it, is if there is a ×5 rear wheel drive German 90s event that all the track sets are wet. You see how niche things have to be for the GT1 to really give you some value? To be fair, it will give you some value in 1990s German dry because it's the second best, only second to the GT1. But then, you know, there's the whole factor of it's not the best, you know what I mean? So yeah, if you want this car to be the best, you need a ×5 rear wheel drive German 90s event where every single track set is dry. See how niche that has to be? And that event has actually happened before in Top Drives. It has happened once. In the 3.2 years I have owned it, that event has happened once. To be fair, I was pretty lucky because that event ended up being a qualifiers for a Tri-Series. So this car did win me a carbon fiber. But you see what I mean? It's like, it's not useful. So if you're thinking Blossom, you still have 1,700 races. Here's the other thing that you need to take into account. When I won this car, I won it when I was at RQ 144. This was a really long time ago. I was still a noob at the game. So when I won the GT1 road car, it was one of my best cars in my garage. It was like one of 4 legendaries, right? So obviously back then I used it a bunch because it was one of my best cars. But now in this day and age, or at least for the past 2.5 years, I have never used the 911 GT1 road car at all. Not even in clubs. The only time I've used it within the last 2.5 years would be that one qualifier where, you know, it was a German rear-wheel drive 90s event where all the track sets were wet. So that's my honest opinion of the GT1 road car. Now you know where I've ranked it in its niche, and as you can see, it doesn't stand high anywhere, only in German events. German 90s events. German 90s dry events, and even then it's not even the best. So that is my honest opinion on the GT1 road car. I know Hutch might make a video saying that this thing is amazing or whatever, but to be completely honest, as an owner for 3.2 years, I don't want to sound like, you know, I'm entitled or spoiled, right? I'm still glad that I won the prize car. I still love the 911 GT1. I'm still a huge fan of Porsches, but in terms of how useful it is in the game, it's just not that good. It really isn't. I still have it at 1 star, and you know, if you look at my cars, it's at 394. It's not even going to beat a lot of epics. If you want this to be a car that beats epics, you would need to at least max out the handling on it, and then it will beat epics. The MRA on this is not bad. It's 88, and it's still a beautiful car, but at the end of the day, it's just not a car that you should be breaking the bank for. If you have a good hand already, which is 2009 cars, by all means, go for it. But this just isn't an Alpha Pro car. This isn't a Zonda Revolution. This isn't a Bugatti Chiron Sport. It's not worth it. So that's my honest opinion on the 911 GT1 road car. So if you were on the fence, if you wanted to win this or not, I mean, at the end of the day, it's not worth it. It's not a good price car. And once again, I'm being unbiased, okay? I have it. I love the car, but I know that it's won me honestly nothing. It's won me 1 carbon fiber in 3.2 years. And if you remember, there was this video I made where I ranked every legend in my garage. This was in the second bottom tier. right? This was in the second bottom tier. The only reason why I wasn't in the bottom because it is in the Project 8 or a Bentley Honor d'Air. But honestly, I'm starting to think that the Bentley Honor d'Air might be able to win me more, because at least it has that four-wheel drive niche, but the GT1 doesn't, and it has a 90s niche as well. So we'll just see how it goes, how the cookie crumbles and everything. But it hasn't won me a lot. That being said, though, it's a cool car. It's a cool car. It looks good, and it obviously carries a lot of history to it, and it has performance tires. But like, no, it's just not worth it. It's not worth breaking the bank for. But once again, I'll make another video that covers just the finals in general when the track sets come out, and then that's when I'll review the 2009 carbon fiber. But if you just want a really quick rundown on what the 2009 carbon fiber looks like, I mean, I think you guys have already seen a lot of this because, you know, it's a huge chunk of Yoto, right? A lot of Yoto cars in here, basically. So if you go into 2009, there you go, all cars. And yeah, you can get a Cinque Roadster, you can get an RT12. Those are the best cars that you can get. I'm not even bothered to filter out prize cars at this point. Evo 10 is a great one. Banana's a great one. The pack actually looks pretty good, but I'll review that when the final track sets come out. I'm going to be doing the owner's challenge, and I'm happy because that means I can use the only two 2009 legendaries that I have, which are both prize cars. So that's really nice. But anyway, that is my review. Let me know if you found it useful, if you're on the fence of wanting to bring this prize car or not. I hope this video found you in a good place, and I hope you helped you make up your mind, basically. But anyway, I hope you guys have a great day. Remember to stay safe, wash your hands, and blossom out. Peace. I bring the toast in the back and we going berserk with the guns on the rack, and we taking account to the sound of the crack. Running from us with the pop and the, cause we're making the moves and the sounds of the P. Calling the shots, a bitch looking at me, and we taking account to the flow in the back with the drop in the cash. You know this ain't a prank. Moving like water, talking with fire. Bounce back undercover to mama's desire. Keep riding the flames like a man on a mission. Rejected again, but you better go listen. Pop up at Billy, run up the Billy. My face on the boards and you all gonna see me. I walk my wrist to look guys in his yachty. Flexing the club, something sincerely Louis. Hey. Yeah.